Question 1. A Scrum team has consistently failed to meet its sprint goal for the past 3 sprints. During the Sprint Retrospective, the development team expresses frustration, blaming external dependencies and a lack of clear requirements from the product owner. The product owner, in turn, feels the development team is not committed enough. What is the Scrum Master's most important accountability in this situation? A. Facilitate a blame-free discussion to identify root causes and encourage the team to create actionable improvement items. B. Arbitrate the conflict between the development team and product owner, making a decision on who is responsible. C. Reprioritize the product backlog with the product owner to select more achievable items for the next sprint. D. Coach the development team on time management techniques to improve their commitment and delivery. Answer: A. Facilitate a blame-free discussion to identify root causes and encourage the team to create actionable improvement items. The Scrum Master's primary accountability during the Sprint Retrospective is to facilitate the event, ensuring it is positive, productive, and focused on inspection and adaptation. In a situation of blame, the Scrum Master must guide the team to look beyond surface-level complaints and collectively identify the underlying issues, whether they are process, tools, or relationship-related. By fostering a safe environment, the team can collaboratively develop specific, actionable improvements to enhance their effectiveness and address the shared challenges. Remember, the retrospective is about continuous improvement for the entire Scrum team, not assigning fault. Question 2. A product owner is struggling to order the product backlog effectively, often changing the order mid-sprint due to new stakeholder requests, causing disruption to the development team's work. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master? A. Instruct the development team to ignore changes during the sprint and focus on the sprint goal. B. Coach the product owner on product backlog refinement techniques and the importance of a stable sprint backlog. C. Facilitate a meeting between the product owner and stakeholders to manage expectations regarding changes. D. Take over the product backlog ordering temporarily to demonstrate proper techniques to the product owner. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on product backlog refinement techniques and the importance of a stable sprint backlog. The Scrum Master serves the product owner by helping them find techniques for effective product backlog management. Frequent changes to the product backlog during a sprint indicate a lack of proper refinement and an understanding of the sprint goal's stability. The Scrum Master should coach the product owner on practices like defining clear product goals, ordering items based on value, dependencies, and risk, and explaining how a well-refined and stable product backlog contributes to a predictable sprint backlog and sustained development team focus. Guiding the product owner to understand these principles empowers them to manage stakeholder expectations and maintain a more stable flow of work for the development team. Question 3. During the sprint review, stakeholders express disappointment because several done product backlog items do not fully meet their expectations, despite being completed according to the definition of done. The product owner insists the team delivered what was agreed upon. What is the most effective approach for the Scrum Master? A. Encourage a dialogue between the development team and stakeholders to clarify misunderstandings and gather feedback. B. Advise the product owner to accept the feedback and unilaterally adjust the product backlog for the next sprint. C. Remind the stakeholders that the development team delivered exactly what was specified in the product backlog items. D. Suggest that the development team revise the done items to meet the stakeholders' newly expressed expectations immediately. Answer: A. Encourage a dialogue between the development team and stakeholders to clarify misunderstandings and gather feedback. The sprint review is a key event for inspection and adaptation of the product, where the Scrum team and stakeholders collaborate on what was done and what to do next. When expectations diverge, it signals a potential communication gap or evolving understanding of the product. The Scrum Master's role is to facilitate this crucial feedback loop, ensuring open communication and a shared understanding of the product's progress and future direction. This direct dialogue helps clarify misunderstandings, allows for gathering valuable input, and fosters transparency, which is vital for adapting the product backlog effectively. Question 4. A new Scrum team is struggling with the concept of self-management. During sprint planning, individual development team members volunteer for specific tasks without much discussion or collaboration, leading to an uneven distribution of work and some critical tasks being overlooked. What should the Scrum Master do? A. Assign tasks to development team members to ensure all work is covered and distributed evenly. B. Facilitate a discussion to help the development team understand how to collectively own and forecast the work for the sprint goal. C. Remind the development team that self-management means they are responsible for their own tasks and schedules. D. Report the issue to management, explaining that the team is not effectively self-managing. Answer. B. Facilitate a discussion to help the development team understand how to collectively own and forecast the work for the sprint goal. Self-management in Scrum means the development team collectively decides how to accomplish the work, not that individuals work in isolation. When tasks are volunteered without collaborative discussion, it often leads to inefficiencies and missed objectives. The Scrum Master should act as a coach and facilitator, guiding the team to understand that they are jointly accountable for achieving the sprint goal, encouraging them to discuss, estimate, and commit to the work as a cohesive unit. This fosters a shared ownership of the sprint backlog and improves their ability to collectively forecast and manage the work. Question 5. The development team frequently reports that they cannot accurately estimate the effort for product backlog items because the requirements are often vague or incomplete. This leads to missed sprint goals. What is the most effective Scrum Master action? A. Encourage the product owner to spend more time writing detailed requirements for each item before sprint planning. B. Facilitate product backlog refinement sessions where the development team and product owner collaborate on understanding and breaking down items. C. Advise the development team to add a buffer to their estimates to account for uncertainties. D. Suggest that the team only takes on smaller, less complex items until their estimation skills improve. Answer. B. Facilitate product backlog refinement sessions where the development team and product owner collaborate on understanding and breaking down items. Vague requirements are a common impediment to effective sprint planning and goal achievement. The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team by promoting effective product backlog refinement, which is the act of breaking down and further defining product backlog items. By facilitating these collaborative sessions, the development team and product owner can engage in ongoing discussions, clarify requirements, and ensure items are well understood and small enough to be done within a sprint before they are brought into sprint planning. This proactive collaboration greatly improves the quality of estimates and the team's ability to meet sprint goals. Question 6. A development team has been together for several sprints, but the Scrum Master observes that individual team members consistently focus only on their own assigned tasks, rarely collaborating or helping others. This often results in some tasks being completed early while others lag behind, threatening the sprint goal. What intervention should the Scrum Master consider first? A. Introduce pair programming as a mandatory practice for all development team members. B. Coach the development team on the importance of collective ownership and swarm intelligence to achieve the sprint goal. C. Reevaluate the team's capacity during sprint planning to assign fewer tasks per person. D. Talk to each team member individually to understand their motivations and address any personal concerns. Answer. B. Coach the development team on the importance of collective ownership and swarm intelligence to achieve the sprint goal. The Scrum team is a self-managing unit of professionals focused on a common sprint goal, not a collection of individuals completing separate tasks. When team members work in silos, it undermines the principles of collaboration and collective responsibility. The Scrum Master should coach the team on how their collective effort, often referred to as swarming or mob programming, can help them achieve the sprint goal more effectively by tackling bottlenecks together. This coaching emphasizes that the sprint goal is a shared commitment, and helping others is integral to successful Scrum teamwork, reinforcing the idea of "we over me." Question 7. The development team is consistently struggling to complete all selected product backlog items by the end of the sprint, even though they work long hours. During the sprint retrospective, they express feeling overwhelmed and burned out. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master? A. Advise the development team to work even harder and focus more during the sprint to meet commitments. B. Coach the development team and product owner on the importance of sustainable pace and realistic sprint planning. C. Facilitate a discussion to reduce the definition of done to make it easier to complete items. D. Suggest extending the sprint length to provide more time for completion. Answer: B. Coach the development team and product owner on the importance of sustainable pace and realistic sprint planning. A sustainable pace is a core principle in Agile, ensuring that the team can maintain their work indefinitely without burnout. When a team is consistently overwhelmed and working long hours, it indicates an unsustainable pace, often stemming from overcommitment during sprint planning or a misunderstanding of capacity. The Scrum Master needs to coach both the development team on how to forecast their capacity realistically and the product owner on the importance of respecting this capacity. This coaching helps the team commit to a realistic amount of work that can be done within a sprint while maintaining their well-being. Question 8. During the Daily Scrum, a development team member consistently dominates the conversation, often going into excessive detail about their personal challenges with a task, exceeding the 15-minute time box. What should the Scrum Master do? A. Allow the team member to finish, as it might be an important impediment that needs thorough discussion. B. Politely interrupt the team member and remind them of the Daily Scrum's purpose and time box. C. Suggest that the team member saves their detailed update for a separate meeting with the relevant team members. D. Redirect the team's focus by asking another team member for their update, ignoring the dominant speaker. Answer: B. Politely interrupt the team member and remind them of the Daily Scrum's purpose and time box. The Daily Scrum is a 15-minute time-boxed event for the development team to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog. While sharing challenges is crucial, detailed problem-solving or extensive personal updates are not its purpose and can derail the meeting. The Scrum Master has an accountability to enforce the time box and guide the team on how to keep the event focused and productive. A gentle reminder ensures that the Daily Scrum remains efficient and beneficial for all development team members, encouraging further detailed discussions to happen outside of the event. Question 9. The Scrum team has adopted a new definition of done, which includes more rigorous quality checks and compliance requirements. As a result, the development team finds they can now complete fewer product backlog items each sprint. The product owner is concerned about the reduced velocity and pressure to deliver more. What should the Scrum Master advise? A. Encourage the product owner to understand that a stronger definition of done, while reducing velocity initially, leads to higher quality and transparency. B. Suggest the development team temporarily revert to the old definition of done to boost velocity and appease the product owner. C. Advise the development team to work overtime to maintain the previous velocity while adhering to the new definition of done. D. Facilitate a discussion to remove some items from the product backlog to compensate for the reduced velocity. Answer: A. Encourage the product owner to understand that a stronger definition of done, while reducing velocity initially, leads to higher quality and transparency. The definition of done ensures transparency by providing a shared understanding of what it means for work to be complete and ready for release. A more rigorous definition of done improves product quality, reduces technical debt, and increases stakeholder confidence, even if it initially impacts the team's measured velocity. The Scrum Master should coach the product owner and the wider organization that velocity is a measure of output, and true value comes from delivering high-quality, done increments. Prioritizing quality and a robust definition of done ultimately leads to a more sustainable and reliable product development process. Question 10. During a sprint, a key stakeholder approaches a development team member directly, asking them to immediately work on a critical bug fix that is not on the sprint backlog and contradicts the current sprint goal. The development team member feels pressured to comply. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master? A. Instruct the development team member to politely inform the stakeholder to contact the product owner regarding new work. B. Allow the development team member to address the bug fix, as it might be genuinely critical. C. Add the bug fix to the current sprint backlog and adjust the sprint goal accordingly. D. Facilitate a discussion between the development team member, product owner, and stakeholder to clarify the process for new work. Answer: A. Instruct the development team member to politely inform the stakeholder to contact the product owner regarding new work. The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team by ensuring that external interruptions and unmanaged scope creep do not jeopardize the sprint goal. When stakeholders bypass the product owner, it undermines the product owner's accountability for maximizing the value of the product and managing the product backlog. The development team should be coached to direct all requests for new work, including critical bug fixes, to the product owner. This reinforces the product owner's authority over the product backlog and protects the development team's focus on the sprint goal. Question 11. The product owner often struggles to explain the product goal and the purpose of upcoming product backlog items during sprint planning, leading to a lack of understanding and engagement from the development team. What is the Scrum Master's best approach? A. Take on the responsibility of explaining the product goal and product backlog items to the development team. B. Coach the product owner on techniques for effective communication, vision sharing, and clearly articulating the product goal. C. Facilitate a longer sprint planning session to ensure the development team has enough time to understand the items. D. Suggest that the development team perform more self-study on the product domain to bridge the knowledge gap. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on techniques for effective communication, vision sharing, and clearly articulating the product goal. The Scrum Master serves the product owner by helping them find techniques for effective product goal definition and product backlog management. A clear product goal and well-articulated product backlog items are crucial for the development team's understanding, motivation, and ability to forecast and plan. The Scrum Master should coach the product owner on how to effectively communicate the product vision, strategy, and item details, fostering a shared understanding that empowers the development team. This coaching helps the product owner fulfill their accountability for maximizing product value. Question 12. During the sprint, the development team realizes they have significantly underestimated the complexity of a product backlog item and will not be able to complete it by the end of the sprint without compromising the definition of done. What is the most appropriate initial action? A. Immediately remove the item from the sprint backlog and bring in a new, simpler item to fill the gap. B. Inform the product owner as soon as possible to discuss potential adjustments to the sprint backlog and sprint goal. C. Work overtime to ensure the item is completed, even if it means compromising quality. D. Wait until the sprint review to announce the incomplete item to the stakeholders. Answer: B. Inform the product owner as soon as possible to discuss potential adjustments to the sprint backlog and sprint goal. Transparency is a core Scrum value, and continuous inspection and adaptation are essential. When a development team discovers an impediment or a significant deviation from the sprint goal, they must communicate this transparently and without delay. The product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product and manages the product backlog. Therefore, informing the product owner allows for a collaborative discussion about the best course of action, which may involve renegotiating the sprint backlog with the development team, adjusting the sprint goal, or dropping the item if it truly cannot be done. Open communication prevents surprises and enables timely decision-making. Question 13. The development team consistently finishes its sprint goal early, indicating they might not be challenged enough or are taking on too little work. What is the Scrum Master's most appropriate action? A. Encourage the team to take on stretch goals or additional product backlog items to utilize their full capacity. B. Facilitate a retrospective discussion focused on optimizing their sprint planning and forecasting to take on more work. C. Advise the product owner to add more items to the product backlog during the sprint to keep the team busy. D. consider increasing the sprint length to allow for more complex work. Answer: B. Facilitate a retrospective discussion focused on optimizing their sprint planning and forecasting to take on more work. While finishing early might seem positive, consistently doing so indicates a potential for better forecasting and sprint planning. The Scrum Master's role is to facilitate the Scrum team's effectiveness, and the Sprint Retrospective is the ideal event for inspecting past performance and adapting future approaches. By facilitating a discussion, the team can analyze why they are finishing early, potentially identifying opportunities to improve their estimation, refine their understanding of done, or confidently forecast a greater amount of work for upcoming sprints. This promotes continuous improvement and optimizes value delivery. Question 14. During the sprint review, stakeholders consistently ask questions about the technical implementation details of the increment, rather than focusing on its functionality and value. The development team finds this distracting. What should the Scrum Master do? A. Ask the product owner to provide more technical details in the sprint review presentation. B. Remind stakeholders that the sprint review is for inspecting the increment and adapting the product backlog, not technical discussions. C. Suggest moving all technical discussions to a separate meeting after the sprint review. D. Coach the development team on how to present technical information in a way that is easily understandable to non-technical stakeholders. Answer: B. Remind stakeholders that the sprint review is for inspecting the increment and adapting the product backlog, not technical discussions. The sprint review is a collaborative working session to inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog, involving the Scrum team and key stakeholders. Its focus is on the product's functionality, value, and future direction, not on deep technical discussions, which can be addressed in other forums if needed. The Scrum Master serves the organization by helping them understand and enact Scrum. By gently reminding stakeholders of the event's purpose, the Scrum Master ensures the sprint review remains productive, valuable, and focused on gathering appropriate feedback for the product owner. Question 15. The Scrum team is new, and during sprint planning, the development team commits to a large number of product backlog items without much discussion about their capacity or technical challenges. The product owner is happy with this commitment. What should the Scrum Master do? A. Allow the team to proceed, as they are self-managing and should learn from their own experiences. B. Express concern to the product owner privately about the ambitious commitment. C. Coach the development team on realistic forecasting, considering historical performance and capacity. D. Intervene and unilaterally reduce the number of product backlog items for the sprint. Answer: C. Coach the development team on realistic forecasting, considering historical performance and capacity. While a development team is self-managing, a new team might lack experience in realistic forecasting and overcommit. The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team by coaching them in self-management and cross-functionality. In this scenario, the Scrum Master should guide the team to consider their past velocity, available capacity, and known impediments to make a more informed and achievable commitment to the sprint goal. This coaching helps them develop better planning skills and fosters a sustainable pace, which is crucial for long-term success rather than letting them learn solely through failure. Question 16. The product owner frequently adds new, urgent product backlog items directly to the sprint backlog mid-sprint, causing the development team to often miss their sprint goal. The product owner justifies this by saying market conditions change rapidly. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master? A. Protect the development team from external interference by refusing to allow new items into the sprint. B. Facilitate a discussion with the product owner and development team about the importance of a stable sprint goal and how to manage emerging work. C. Advise the development team to work faster to accommodate the new items without jeopardizing the sprint goal. D. Suggest that the product owner prioritize all new, urgent items into the next sprint's product backlog. Answer: B. Facilitate a discussion with the product owner and development team about the importance of a stable sprint goal and how to manage emerging work. The sprint goal provides focus and stability for the development team during the sprint. While market conditions can change, introducing new, urgent items directly into an ongoing sprint backlog undermines the sprint goal and the team's ability to focus. The Scrum Master should coach the entire Scrum team on the balance between responsiveness and stability, helping the product owner understand the impact of mid-sprint changes and collaborating with the development team on how to effectively refine and incorporate truly urgent new work, possibly leading to a cancellation of the sprint if the sprint goal becomes obsolete. This fosters a shared understanding and protects the team's focus. Question 17. A Scrum team has a definition of done that states, all code must be reviewed by at least one other development team member. However, due to time pressure towards the end of the sprint, team members often skip this step to finish their assigned tasks. What is the Scrum Master's role here? A. Remind the development team that the definition of done is non-negotiable and coach them on upholding it. B. Suggest that the development team revise the definition of done to remove the code review requirement if it's consistently skipped. C. Report the development team's failure to adhere to the definition of done to their functional manager. D. Ignore the issue for a sprint or two, hoping the team will self-correct. Answer. A. Remind the development team that the definition of done is non-negotiable and coach them on upholding it. The definition of done is a formal description of the state of the increment when it meets the quality measures required for the product. It creates transparency and ensures everyone understands what done means. Skipping steps in the definition of done undermines transparency and product quality. The Scrum Master is accountable for helping the team adhere to Scrum's rules and principles. Therefore, the Scrum Master must coach the development team on the critical importance of adhering to the agreed-upon definition of done and help them identify ways to integrate all activities, like code reviews, effectively within the sprint. Question 18. During the Sprint Retrospective, the development team identifies that a major impediment to their productivity is the outdated development tools they are forced to use. They propose investing in new software, but this would require approval and budget from a different department, which traditionally has been slow to respond. What should the Scrum Master do? A. Tell the development team that this is outside the scope of the retrospective and they should focus on internal improvements. B. Take on the responsibility of communicating with the other department and actively advocating for the new tools. C. Advise the development team to work around the outdated tools and focus on improvements they can control. D. Suggest the team presents the issue to the product owner, as it affects product delivery. Answer. B. Take on the responsibility of communicating with the other department and actively advocating for the new tools. The Scrum Master serves the organization in several ways, including leading, training, and coaching in its Scrum adoption, and removing impediments that hinder the Scrum team. An outdated development tool that impacts productivity is a significant impediment. While the development team identifies the issue, the Scrum Master is best positioned to interact with external departments, advocating for the necessary changes and navigating organizational complexities to ensure the team has the resources it needs. This helps improve the team's working environment and overall effectiveness. Question 19. A development team member consistently struggles with collaboration during sprint activities, preferring to work in isolation. This often leads to missed dependencies and last-minute integration issues. What is the Scrum Master's initial approach? A. Assign the team member to tasks that require minimal collaboration. B. Facilitate coaching sessions on the benefits of collaboration, teamwork, and cross-functional skill development within the team. C. Discuss the team members' performance issues with their functional manager. D. Mandate that all work be done in pairs or groups to force collaboration. Answer. B. Facilitate coaching sessions on the benefits of collaboration, teamwork, and cross-functional skill development within the team. Scrum emphasizes collaboration and self-organizing, cross-functional teams. When a team member struggles with collaboration, it can significantly hinder the team's ability to achieve the sprint goal. The Scrum Master's role is to coach the team on these core aspects of Scrum. By facilitating discussions and coaching sessions, the Scrum Master can help the team member understand the value of working together, sharing knowledge, and swarming on tasks to overcome challenges and improve the overall team dynamic. This approach encourages growth rather than isolating the individual or escalating prematurely. Question 20. The product owner is frequently absent from product backlog refinement sessions, stating they are too busy with stakeholder management. As a result, the development team often arrives at sprint planning with poorly understood or unrefined items, impacting their ability to forecast. What should the Scrum Master do? A. Run the refinement sessions in the product owner's absence, bringing the refined items to the product owner for approval later. B. Coach the product owner on their accountability for product backlog management and the value of refinement for the development team. C. Advise the development team to proceed with sprint planning using their best guesses, and adjust during the sprint. D. Report the product owner's lack of engagement to upper management as a significant impediment. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on their accountability for product backlog management and the value of refinement for the development team. Product backlog refinement is a crucial ongoing activity where the development team and product owner collaborate to add detail, estimates, and order to product backlog items. The product owner is ultimately accountable for maximizing product value, which includes ensuring the product backlog is well understood. The Scrum Master serves the product owner by coaching them on effective product backlog management. By explaining the negative impact of insufficient refinement on sprint planning and the development team's focus, the Scrum Master can help the product owner prioritize this vital activity. Question 21. During the sprint, the development team identifies a technical dependency on another internal department that will delay their ability to complete a key product backlog item. The other department's availability for collaboration is limited. What is the Scrum Master's primary role in this situation? A. Instruct the development team to work around the dependency and focus on other tasks. B. Escalate the issue to the respective managers of both departments to force a resolution. C. Facilitate communication and collaboration between the development team and the dependent department to resolve the impediment. D. Advise the product owner to remove the dependent item from the sprint backlog. Answer: C. Facilitate communication and collaboration between the development team and the dependent department to resolve the impediment. The Scrum Master's accountability includes removing impediments to the development team's progress. A technical dependency on another department is a classic example of an impediment. Rather than immediate escalation or avoidance, the Scrum Master should first act as a facilitator, helping to establish clear communication channels and foster collaboration between the teams. This often involves bridging organizational gaps and enabling direct conversations to understand constraints and find mutually agreeable solutions, thereby empowering the teams to resolve issues themselves where possible. Question 22. A development team, new to Scrum, is struggling with their commitment to the sprint goal. They often allow new requests from stakeholders to distract them, even when the product owner has not prioritized them. What is the most important concept the Scrum Master should coach them on? A. The importance of velocity as a measure of progress. B. The concept of a stable sprint backlog and protecting the sprint goal. C. How to effectively negotiate with stakeholders for more resources. D. The benefits of working on multiple projects simultaneously. Answer: B. The concept of a stable sprint backlog and protecting the sprint goal. The sprint goal provides focus for the development team, and the sprint backlog represents the forecast of work needed to achieve that goal. A stable sprint backlog, protected from outside interference once the sprint begins, is crucial for the team's ability to focus and deliver. The Scrum Master must coach the development team on the importance of guarding their sprint against unapproved changes and external distractions. This helps them understand their commitment to the sprint goal and empowers them to respectfully decline work that isn't part of the current sprint. Question 23. The development team consistently creates technical debt by taking shortcuts in implementing features, intending to refactor later. This leads to a declining product quality and slower development in subsequent sprints. What is the most effective action for the Scrum Master? A. Recommend that the product owner prioritize refactoring work explicitly in the product backlog. B. Introduce a policy that prohibits any technical debt from being incurred. C. Coach the development team on the definition of done and the long-term consequences of technical debt. D. Schedule a separate, technical debt sprint once every few sprints to address accumulated issues. Answer: C. Coach the development team on the definition of done and the long-term consequences of technical debt. Technical debt, while sometimes necessary, becomes problematic when it's routinely accumulated, leading to compromised quality and reduced agility. The Scrum Master should coach the development team on the importance of the definition of done as a commitment to quality and how consistently meeting it prevents technical debt. Helping them understand that later often never comes, and that accumulating debt slows future development, reinforces the value of building quality in from the start. This understanding empowers the team to make better decisions about sustainable practices. Question 24. During a sprint retrospective, the Scrum team expresses that the sprint reviews are often poorly attended by key stakeholders, resulting in limited valuable feedback on the increment. What should the Scrum Master suggest? A. Cancel sprint reviews if stakeholders are not attending, as they are not providing value. B. Coach the product owner on the importance of stakeholder engagement and effective invitation strategies for the sprint review. C. Ask the development team to present the increment directly to individual stakeholders after the sprint. D. Make attendance at the sprint review mandatory for key stakeholders by escalating to their managers. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on the importance of stakeholder engagement and effective invitation strategies for the sprint review. The sprint review is a crucial opportunity for the Scrum team to inspect the increment with stakeholders and gather feedback to adapt the product backlog. Low attendance limits this critical feedback loop. The product owner is accountable for maximizing product value, which includes engaging stakeholders effectively. The Scrum Master serves the product owner by coaching them on strategies to increase stakeholder participation, such as clearly communicating the value of their presence, tailoring the presentation to their interests, and managing expectations, rather than resorting to mandated attendance. Question 25. The development team is cross-functional, but individual members prefer to work only within their specific area of expertise, e.g., front-end, back-end, QA. This creates bottlenecks when one area has more work than others. What is the most effective approach for the Scrum Master? A. Advise the development team to only select product backlog items that evenly distribute work across their specializations. B. Coach the development team on T-shaped skills and encouraging members to help across functional boundaries to achieve the sprint goal. C. Restructure the team into subteams based on specialization to improve focus. D. Assign a team lead to manage work distribution and ensure no bottlenecks occur. Answer: B. Coach the development team on T-shaped skills and encouraging members to help across functional boundaries to achieve the sprint goal. A cross-functional development team possesses all the skills needed to create value each sprint. While individuals may have specialties, true cross-functionality means team members are willing and able to help in other areas to achieve the sprint goal, often referred to as developing T-shaped skills. The Scrum Master should coach the team on the benefits of this collaborative approach, explaining how sharing knowledge and swarming on work prevents bottlenecks and increases the team's overall efficiency and resilience. This reinforces the idea that the team owns the sprint goal collectively, not individual tasks. Question 26. During the Daily Scrum, the development team members report only what they did yesterday, without discussing what they will do today or any impediments. The meeting often finishes in less than 5 minutes. What should the Scrum Master address? A. The brevity of the meeting, suggesting they extend it to the full 15 minutes. B. The team's understanding of the Daily Scrum's purpose, which is to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and create a plan for the next 24 hours. C. The lack of detail in their "did yesterday" updates, asking for more specifics. D. The absence of formal impediment tracking, asking them to create a log. Answer: B. The team's understanding of the Daily Scrum's purpose, which is to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and create a plan for the next 24 hours. The Daily Scrum is not merely a status report but a critical event for the development team to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt their plan for the next 24 hours. If team members only state what they did, they are missing the crucial elements of forward-looking planning and identifying impediments to achieving the sprint goal. The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team by coaching them on why the Daily Scrum is vital and how to use it effectively to synchronize their work and maximize their chances of meeting their commitment. Question 27. The Scrum team has been using story points for estimation, but the product owner is consistently translating these points into hours for management, leading to pressure on the development team to meet hour-based targets. What is the Scrum Master's best course of action? A. Coach the product owner and management on the difference between relative sizing, story points, and time-based estimates, and the risks of misinterpreting velocity. B. Advise the development team to start estimating in hours directly to align with management's expectations. C. Ignore the issue, as long as the development team continues to use story points internally. D. Insist that the product owner stops communicating any estimates to management. Answer: A. Coach the product owner and management on the difference between relative sizing, story points, and time-based estimates, and the risks of misinterpreting velocity. Story points are a relative estimation technique intended to estimate the effort, complexity, and uncertainty of product backlog items, not absolute time. Translating them into hours and using them as fixed commitments for management undermines the purpose of relative sizing and creates undue pressure on the development team. The Scrum Master serves the organization by educating them on Scrum's empirical principles. Coaching the product owner and management on why story points are used, the inherent uncertainties in software development, and the dangers of misinterpreting velocity fosters a healthier and more realistic understanding of progress. Question 28. A new development team member struggles to understand the value of the sprint goal, viewing it as an abstract concept rather than a concrete objective for their daily work. This causes them to prioritize individual tasks over the collective aim. How should the Scrum Master address this? A. Pair the new team member with a more experienced member to learn by example. B. Coach the new team member on how the sprint goal provides focus and cohesion for the entire sprint. C. Ask the product owner to provide more detailed explanations of the sprint goal during sprint planning. D. Assign the new team member simpler tasks that don't directly contribute to the sprint goal to ease them in. Answer: B. Coach the new team member on how the sprint goal provides focus and cohesion for the entire sprint. The sprint goal is a single objective for the sprint, which provides flexibility in terms of the work needed to achieve it. If a team member doesn't grasp its importance, it can lead to fragmented efforts and a lack of shared purpose. The Scrum Master, as a coach, should clearly explain how the sprint goal unites the development team, helps them make decisions during the sprint, and acts as the reason for inspecting the increment. This understanding helps the new member align their individual contributions with the team's collective objective, reinforcing self-management and focus. Question 29. The product owner frequently changes the order of items at the top of the product backlog immediately before sprint planning, making it difficult for the development team to adequately prepare or understand the upcoming work. What is the most effective action for the Scrum Master? A. Insist that the product owner freezes the product backlog order a week before sprint planning. B. Coach the product owner on the importance of ongoing product backlog refinement and stable top items for effective sprint planning. C. Facilitate a longer sprint planning session to accommodate the last-minute changes. D. Tell the development team to ignore changes and only focus on items they had prepared for. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on the importance of ongoing product backlog refinement and stable top items for effective sprint planning. Product backlog refinement is an ongoing activity to add detail, estimates, and order to product backlog items. For sprint planning to be effective, the product backlog items selected should be ready and well understood. Frequent, last-minute reordering of high-priority items signals a lack of continuous refinement and undermines the team's ability to plan. The Scrum Master should coach the product owner on how consistent refinement, involving the development team, leads to a stable and predictable top of the product backlog, making sprint planning more efficient and commitments more realistic. Question 30. During the sprint, the development team encounters a critical technical issue that severely impacts their ability to make progress towards the sprint goal. They spend significant time debating the best technical solution among themselves without clear resolution. What is the Scrum Master's most helpful intervention? A. Step in and make the technical decision for the team to unblock them. B. Remind the team that they are self-managing and should resolve it on their own. C. Coach the team on effective problem-solving techniques and decision-making frameworks, or facilitate a structured discussion to guide them towards a solution. D. Ask the product owner to deprioritize the affected product backlog item. Answer: C. Coach the team on effective problem-solving techniques and decision-making frameworks, or facilitate a structured discussion to guide them towards a solution. While the development team is self-managing, the Scrum Master serves the team by removing impediments and coaching them in self-organization. When a team is stuck in unproductive debate on a critical issue, the Scrum Master should not make the decision for them but should empower them. This involves coaching them on techniques for structured problem solving, helping them identify options, evaluate pros and cons, and arrive at a consensus or a clear decision in a timely manner. The goal is to facilitate their decision-making process, not to dictate the solution. Question 31. The organization mandates that all Scrum teams use a specific, highly detailed, and time-consuming project management tool for tracking individual tasks, which adds significant overhead to the development team's work. What is the Scrum Master's role here? A. Insist that the development team strictly adheres to the mandated tool, as it's an organizational requirement. B. Work with the development team to find ways to minimize the impact of the tool, and with the organization to demonstrate better alternatives or reduce the burden. C. Ignore the tool, advising the development team to use their preferred tracking methods and not report to management via the mandated tool. D. Document the overhead and present it to the development team's functional manager, requesting an exemption. Answer: B. Work with the development team to find ways to minimize the impact of the tool, and with the organization to demonstrate better alternatives or reduce the burden. The Scrum Master serves the organization in its Scrum adoption, which includes helping to remove organizational impediments that hinder Scrum teams. A mandated, high-overhead tool that conflicts with Scrum's principles of empiricism and simplicity is an impediment. The Scrum Master's approach should be multifaceted: protect the team from unnecessary overhead, find creative ways to simplify compliance for the team, and proactively work with the organization to educate them on the tool's impact and advocate for more agile-friendly solutions. This balances organizational needs with team effectiveness, rather than simply accepting or rejecting the mandate. Question 32. During a sprint retrospective, the development team struggles to come up with meaningful improvement actions, often repeating the same issues or proposing vague solutions. What is the Scrum Master's role in this situation? A. Provide the team with a list of common Scrum improvements to choose from. B. Coach the team on techniques for deeper root cause analysis and generating actionable, specific improvement items. C. Take ownership of defining improvement actions and assign them to team members. D. Shorten the retrospective, as the team seems to be out of ideas. Answer: B. Coach the team on techniques for deeper root cause analysis and generating actionable, specific improvement items. The sprint retrospective is a critical opportunity for the Scrum team to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements to be enacted in the next sprint. If the team is struggling to generate meaningful actions, the Scrum Master, as a facilitator and coach, needs to guide them. This involves introducing techniques like the 5 whys or Ishikawa diagrams for root cause analysis, or helping them craft smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, improvement items. The goal is to empower the team to continuously improve its processes and effectiveness, not to dictate solutions. Question 33. The product owner frequently changes the product goal, sometimes multiple times within a single sprint, in response to every new piece of feedback or market shift. This makes it challenging for the development team to maintain focus. What is the Scrum Master's most effective action? A. Advise the product owner that the product goal must remain fixed for at least several sprints. B. Coach the product owner on balancing responsiveness to change with providing a stable, long-term direction for the product. C. Inform the development team that they must adapt to the product owner's frequent changes, as it reflects market agility. D. Discuss with the development team how to ignore product goal changes mid-sprint and stick to the original one. Answer. B. Coach the product owner on balancing responsiveness to change with providing a stable, long-term direction for the product. The product goal serves as a long-term objective for the Scrum team, providing vision and focus. While Scrum embraces change, constantly shifting the product goal undermines stability and the team's ability to focus its efforts over multiple sprints. The Scrum Master should coach the product owner on the strategic importance of a relatively stable product goal, helping them understand how to incorporate market changes and feedback without completely abandoning the long-term vision. This guidance helps the product owner to effectively balance agility with clear direction for the Scrum team. Question 34. The development team has decided to adopt a practice where they commit to a specific forecast of product backlog items in sprint planning, but they do not actively use the sprint goal. Instead, they just focus on completing all committed items. What should the Scrum Master coach them on? A. The importance of having a sprint goal as a single, unifying objective for the sprint. B. The flexibility of the sprint backlog, and that committing to items is less important than delivering value. C. That completing all forecasted items is a good enough practice, even without a formal sprint goal. D. How to better forecast items to ensure they can always complete everything they commit to. Answer. A. The importance of having a sprint goal as a single, unifying objective for the sprint. The sprint goal is a crucial element of Scrum, providing a single, coherent objective for the sprint, rather than just a collection of tasks. Without a sprint goal, the development team lacks a shared purpose and decision-making guide when challenges arise or scope needs to be adjusted. The Scrum Master should coach the team that the sprint goal empowers them to be flexible with the sprint backlog as needed, as long as the sprint goal remains achievable, fostering true self-management and focus on value, not just task completion. Question 35. A development team member consistently struggles to deliver their assigned tasks to the definition of done by the end of the sprint, often leaving them partially complete. When questioned, they claim they lack the necessary skills for certain parts of the work. What is the Scrum Master's role here? A. Advise the product owner to stop assigning that team member work that requires those specific skills. B. Coach the development team on developing cross-functional skills and swarming to complete work together. C. Suggest the team member attend external training courses to acquire the missing skills. D. Report the skill gap to the team member's functional manager for resolution. Answer. B. Coach the development team on developing cross-functional skills and swarming to complete work together. The Scrum team is cross-functional, meaning it possesses all the skills needed to create value each sprint. While individual skill gaps can occur, the team's collective responsibility is to achieve the sprint goal. The Scrum Master should coach the development team on fostering T-shaped skills, encouraging knowledge sharing, and swarming on tasks to support team members and ensure work reaches the definition of done. This approach empowers the team to collectively address skill gaps and complete work, rather than relying solely on individual capabilities or external intervention.